I think this has been fantastic, brother, because I know many people want a course. They don't know how to make it. They don't know what to say. They don't know why someone would buy it from them. And you basically solve all of those problems using AI. And all they have to do is talk into the AI bot and answer some questions, and it will do the rest. It's your boy, Colton Havens, aka Mr. Hype. And today we have a special guest, Richard Matthews. Now, Richard Matthews is American blood, as y'all can see right now. One of the cool things that I know about Richard is he is traveling across the country, RV life. He did that for a little while. He's a master at system building for businesses. And he's been able to do this at one of the highest levels that I have ever seen in the online world at millions of dollars at scale. And today we're going to be doing a demo for you guys on his new AI tool that he's using. Maybe he developed it. We'll get into the details there, but it's going to help you create course frameworks that he's used to sell millions of dollars online. So we're really excited for you to be here today, Richard. Where exactly are you from?
So that's a hard question to answer because we've been on the road for 7.5 years now, or 7 years coming up in May. And you mentioned RV. I'm actually here. I'll break the illusion. I'm actually in the RV now. There's bathroom and closets, whatnot. And this is just my studio that I built in the back bedroom of the RV. But we're in Benson, Arizona right now. And we're on our way back over to Florida, so we're going to be stopping in a few places along the way. But we started traveling from Southern California, but that was more than half a decade ago.
Yeah, and you're doing it with the whole fam.
Yeah, we got 4 kids, which you may hear shrieking in the background a little bit. We got 2 ferrets and a cat right now. So there's the ferrets are actually doing battle right over here behind me. So if you see the background moving and everything, that's ferrets doing battle on the bed because that's what they do. So there you go. It's
That's all. You got ferrets, huh?
Yeah.
Out of all things, you got ferrets. So why are you on the road? Why are you traveling on the road?
So wanted to travel. It was something my wife and I talked about for several years, almost like 5 years before we actually started traveling. Was we wanted to travel because we wanted to give both ourselves and our kids sort of like the experience of seeing the whole country and just seeing different places and different people and different foods and like interacting with the world that way. And it was one of those things that we thought we would do for like 6 months or a year, right? And just like we would travel because we were young and we could, and the technology allowed us to. And then we started traveling and we fell in love and we haven't stopped since. So now it's just become a sort of a lifestyle of ours. And we're in the process now of like we've seen the whole country in the US. So we're going to start doing some more international travel, whether that's like flying and going Airbnb in another country for a month or so, or we're trying to buy a sailing yacht so we can go port to port around the world. And it's become kind of a lifestyle addiction, I guess.
Dude, that's so cool. So many people talk about doing that, but they don't ever do it. They can't figure out ways to do it. So how are you able to have this type of lifestyle?
So a couple of things. One is technology has shifted so much over the last, 7 years. When we first started, it was a little more difficult, back in 2017. And cell phone internet has dramatically changed, everything. So you get into 5G networks allows us to work remotely. Satellite internet with Starlink also allows us to work remotely. So there's just the technological aspect of it. Then COVID happened and made everyone think remote was totally normal. We've been doing it since before it was cool, but now it's just totally cool. And so that's sort of what allows us to do that. I run a company called Push Button Podcasts, and it's a service-based business. We help other service professionals, coaches, consultants. We help them build a video podcast and turn it into their whole content marketing thing. We run the whole team virtually. So I've got 14, 15 staff members right now. And they all work remotely. So we have a 100% remote company. And that's what allows us to travel is, we have a remote staff, we have remote offerings that, none of it requires us to be in a specific location in order to provide value to the marketplace.
Six. So you have your business is based around creating done for you podcast services for businesses.
Yeah, yeah. So we do the video podcast, and the video podcast turns into weekly YouTube video, weekly audio podcasts, weekly blog posts, and daily social media content across all the platforms. And so we do that to create an omnipresent sort of content marketing strategy for the businesses that we work with.
Oh, that's awesome. That sounds like the omniscience presence things that everybody wants to do anyways. And with all of that work, there comes a lot of automation, a lot of systems that I know that you're really good at. And that's probably where this AI comes into play now, right? And using podcasts and using this omnipresent stuff. What's like one of the things that you see everybody selling so they can actually make money from like a podcast?
So when we talk podcasts, one of the things that I always tell my clients is you should have something that's self-sponsored, right? You should self-sponsor your podcast. So we talk in the world of podcasts, there's two types of podcasts. There's a media podcast and there's a strategic influence podcast. So media podcasts are like the big names you hear of, Joe Rogan or The Daily Wire. And those are podcasts where the podcast itself is the business and your KPI is large viewership, sell ads, right? And strategic influence is a podcast where the podcast is a marketing wing of an existing business, right? So you have a business and you want to show up in the marketplace, get the attention, get the authority, get the trust in the marketplace so that you can sell your goods and services into the marketplace, right, from your existing business. And so that's what we do for our clients is that strategic influence podcast. And the one of the biggest like issues that my clients run into is they don't always know what they should do for a call to action on their podcast. And so the call to action is, you have a free strategy session, or you have a lead magnet, or you have an actual sales option, right? And so depending on the business, a lot of times they'll have something like that in place. But if they don't, one of the things I'll recommend is get a video sales letter set up or get a course that you can sell set up. And so the bot that we're going to talk about today would just came out of that, like in my previous life, I used to help people build and develop their courses. So I had the whole framework for developing their courses. And so I was like, I wonder if we could make this simple with a lot of the new AI tools that have come out. And that's where the bot that we're going to come out today came into and how it fits into our business now is it's an offering we can give to our clients to like, hey, if you need to have a call to action for your podcast, we can help you get a course put together very quickly that can be a good offer on your podcast.
I already hear people right now, they're saying, "Yeah, but I don't have a course idea. Yeah, but course, how much money can a course actually make? And can I myself, why would someone buy a course from me?" You're always going to have those type of people. So just so people understand, course creation and online education is a multi-billion dollar industry, and it's only growing every single day because of COVID and remote sustainability. So if someone's brand new, maybe they've never heard about courses. Let's just assume they don't know what that means. How much money is possible, or maybe that you've seen someone sell from their course from a podcast? How much? What's the
So
best number?
I can give you some real life examples. So I mentioned in my previous life, right? So what I did before push button podcasts, I had a company where I helped people build their entire business, right? So we helped them build their flagship course, we helped them build their mastermind groups, we helped them build all their pieces to grow an online business. And the last sort of stage of that I called it the digital alchemy formula, right? And it started with ALCHEMY alchemy. And the why on that was your message everywhere. And your message everywhere was essentially the playbook that turned into the Push Button Podcast Agency. And we realized along the way that our clients that actually did the work and put in that section grew really big companies, and the ones that didn't had struggled. And so I was trying to figure out what the issue was. And the issue was, well, doing the whole online podcast thing was really difficult. So we built the agency and realized sort of along the way that we could work with lots of businesses that didn't have to have everything built already. We work with businesses that already had offering in the marketplace. And that's why Push Button Podcast sort of took over and became the foundation of our company. But what that means is I had spent years and years, almost 10 years, developing the templates and everything to build courses and to build masterminds and to build your heroic brand website. So we had like templates for about pages, templates for webinars, templates for video sales letters. So like all of this content that we had built. And every one of our clients that actually went through the whole process generally got to the point where they were building a seven-figure business, right? So I'll give you a small example. This one's actually less than seven figures to start with, but I think it's a fun illustrative story. One of my clients had a course about how to invest in real estate, and it was not built with instructional design in mind. It was just an expert basically brain vomiting everything he knew about real estate investing into a digital course. And he was selling that course and had a selling maybe 3 or 4 copies of it a month. And he had a YouTube channel with 40,000 viewers on it, and he had a podcast with about a thousand listeners on it. And he was selling, I said, roughly 2 or 3 copies of this course a month, and his completion rate of that course was like less than 10%. And the success rate of the people who went through the course, again, less than like 10%. So very few people are actually succeeding with real estate investing in that course. And so what we did is we came through and actually built, um, restructured his course using the outline that we're going to show you today in the course creation bot. And which is all based on instructional design principles, right? Which, and that is, if in case you're curious what that is, instructional design is teaching in a way that is specifically designed for the way human beings learn, and with a specific bent on getting them to take the action on the things that they've learned. Right. So that's what instructional design is. And so we rebuilt his course with instructional design principles in mind. That's what this course is about. And over the next year, he went from selling 2 or 3 copies of that course to and which amounted to about $1,000 a month or so of the course. So maybe $12,000 a year is like the total that he had sold so far, to selling $250,000 of that course material, which was crazy. And his completion rate went from less than 10% to more than 80%, and his success rate went to about 86%. Meaning that 86% of the people who completed the course went out and closed their first real estate deal within 60 days. And so it actually had an impact on the learners' outcomes. And because it had an impact on the learners' outcomes, they would do testimonials and case studies, and it was like a snowball of positivity that really grew his business. And he grew and ended up growing that business up into a very large company. And so that's where, like, instructional design and course design was the foundation of that, like, change in his business, if that makes sense.
So hold up, you're saying if I'm already selling a course, if I already have students, if I already have a decent design, or if I'm starting from square zero, this outline that you're about to show us can help me start making at the low end, even if it's bad, I mean, I guess I can't say it exactly, but a quarter, $2,500,000 or $250,000 extra a year with having this structure and having great results. Because I know some people, some courses, like the completion rate is like, like you said, 10%. So this is going to help if you already have a course and if you want to create your own.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I want to point out, like, the $250,000 sales, he had an audience already, right? And so you always have to have an audience to put your offer in front of, whether that's, in his case, we always talk about buy, borrow, build, blitz, right? So buy audiences, you put your ads in front of Facebook, or I know you're specialized in TikTok, right? You can put your offer in front of an audience. Borrow is like, you get in front of someone else's audience. That's what I'm doing here with you, right? I'm getting in front of your audience to show off our course creation bot. Build is building your own audience. That's what he had. He had his YouTube and his podcast, or blitz is like cold outreach and that kind of stuff. So having a course and not putting it in front of an audience will not make you any money. But if you have a course and you can put it in front of an audience, then regardless of how you do that, when you have a good course that has good completion rates that actually helps people get the result you promised them, you can't help but grow it. It's much easier to sell and put in front of audiences when you have stuff that actually works.
Right. Shameless plug. Go get the 100K view masterclass so you can build an audience. Okay. Links below. All right. Let's go into this demonstration, brother. Show me how you do this.
Yeah. So let me go ahead and share my screen, and we'll go into Safari. And I want to do, actually, you know what? Let me pull this out a little bit, because I want to actually show people how the bot works, and how it's actually taught. So let me pull up the one-day course creation framework. Come back here. One-day course creation framework. And are you familiar with a note-taking app called Obsidian?
No.
So I like Obsidian. Obsidian it's a thing for taking notes. And so what this is just my notes. And this is what I've fed the bot. And so I want to show you this for one reason, just so you can see what's inside, like behind the bot. So if you've ever built a bot, the bot has, on GPT, they have an ability to have a knowledge base. And the knowledge base is like all the data that it's going to pull from. And so when you have a knowledge base, you can get a bot to do very specific things in very specific ways. And so what I've got here is I've got a set of documents that are set up specifically for the bot to know what to do. And so this is, I call it the one-day journey creation framework. And there's a whole story behind that if you want to get into it at some point. But I've got a list of documents that are all fed in specifically for the bot. And at the top of each document, there's a description for the bot, so the bot knows what to do with um, with the document. And each one of them has basically the instructions and then a link to all the other documents, right? And it says, so this document's the what, this document's the why, this document's the how, this document's the now, right? Each one of these documents is basically telling the bot what you need to do with it. And so this is the framework. If you go all the way through it, this is 14,000 character explanation of a um, how to build a course. And so what you'll see is, and you'll see when we get into the actual bot, that it'll coach you through this exact framework, which is really cool. And so there's two aspects to this. One is, how do you build a bot that follows a specific framework? This is how you do it, right? You actually put your frameworks in and explain to the bot what's going on. So this is the escape and arrival and the macro steps for the bot. This document here is also in the bot. This one is the why. What this one is I gave the framework to ChatGPT and it said, explain every aspect of this framework to me. And so this is ChatGPT's own understanding of the framework. So there's another 14,000 characters of explanation of what the framework is. This document here is the how, like how you actually develop and work through the steps on it. And then this one here is an example document. And right, so this one is a completed example of the one-day creation framework. It actually says somewhere in there, do not use this data in this document to help users. It's just an example, right? Because this is, in this case, this is 12,855 words of my course, the Digital Alchemy Formula, as an example to see what a completed course would look like. And so what we've given it then is we've given it the actual framework. We've given it an explanation of every step of the framework. We've given it an explanation of how to work through the framework, and we've given it an example of what the framework is. And then there should be one other one, which is an instruction document, and I may or may not be able to find it. Instructions and STO.
Just to break this down for maybe the
Yeah.
everyday person reading, this is the framework of how you make, you've done 7 figures with a course creation, right? This is the pattern of how you implement your courses to help the person watching get results. And we're going to take this framework and give it to our
We're going to
bot.
give it to bot.
Okay, and the bot will do that heavy lifting for us.
And then this is the first document that the bot gets, right? It's the instructions for the bot. And it says basically, hello bot, your goal is to help users brainstorm their online course. Here's your steps. And so this is where I want you to see this is really cool, right? Because you're going to say, here's your steps, is work through these documents. And step one, when a user says, let's create a course together, where should we start? You should provide the user an overview of the course outline structure and be sure to cover why the structure is persuasive teaching framework, remind them it's a good idea to have a document editor open, blah, blah, blah. We're telling them what we want the bot to do. And so there's step-by-steps all the way through on what we actually want the bot to do. So that's what we fed the bot that you're going to see here in just a minute, right? So then we'll go in and we'll actually open up the bot and show you what it does. So let's go in here. Now we're in the bot. And the bot, if you've never played with the bots, again, I'll give you a little bit of education on here while we're going. Everyone who has not played with this, if you're on GPT Plus, you go into Explore Bots, and you can click the Create button and create your own bot. And so I've got one in here, the course architect. We edit it. And if we look at the configure thing, there's all those documents that I just mentioned are in the knowledge for the bot, right? So there's the instructions and that what, why, how, now. So all of those documents are in there. And what that lets us do is actually use the bot. And so you can build bots like this to follow any framework that you want, right? So maybe you have a framework, Colton, on how to write a good TikTok ad, the script for a good TikTok ad. And so if you follow that structure where you're going to give the bot all the pieces of what a good TikTok ad looks like, so they got examples, they've got a framework for what it looks like, they know why each section exists, you can build a bot that does what you want it to do, right? So in my case, I've taken our proprietary information on how to build a really good course that gets people to actually take action and get good completion rates and get good results from the actual course, and we've built that into a bot, right? So you could do that with whatever you want to know. So that's the first thing, is just how this actually works. And hopefully, any questions on that, I guess, before I get into actually demoing the bot?
Nope, it's something I do every day, and with I use Claude, I use ChatGPT, so I'm on board, bro. I've been in the game. So anybody else that doesn't understand that, just understand your programming, and you can create anything from an AI bot with that foundation. So now you just learned how to make your own ChatGPT bot for whatever framework you make money with right now.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's go ahead and just play with it. And Colton, you and I can we can pretend we're doing a I don't know, a TikTok ad course or something like that.
Let's
So
do
let's
it,
create
man.
a course
I'm
together.
I'm building one as we speak anyways, so
And so we go. It's going to pop up, and that sounds like a great project. According to the structured approach, we have the first step in creating a course is to come up with the title. The title should encapsulate the main outcome of the transformation of your course. Promises to deliver usually follows a formula like how to achieve a result in time frame without common problem. This not only sets clear expectations for the course, potential students, but also helps them in defining the scope and the content of your course. So let's start to think about the main outcome or result you want from your course to deliver, the time frame which your students can expect to achieve the result, and a common problem or challenge that helps them overcome the drawbacks, and can you share some thoughts on this? And so this is generally what the bot's going to come back with. It's going to give you a couple of questions, right, on things that you can answer. And so here's what I always recommend my students do who are playing with this bot, anyone who's using this bot. So you'll, if you're using this, what I want you to do is don't just type into the bot and try to figure out and just answer these questions. What I do now is I use an app like Live Transcribe. So Live Transcribe is um, trans app, scribe.app, live transcribe.app or Otter, or anything that lets you basically live transcribe what you're saying directly into your phone and copy and paste the text out of it, right? And so what I will do then is I'll self-interview, right? Self-interview, whatever it is. I'm like, okay, what's the main outcome or course that I want to deliver? And I'll just talk into the thing. Okay, what I want to deliver is we want to teach people um, how to develop a TikTok ads course, right? And we're going to show them how to create ads, whatever the thing is. We want them to be able to get their first successful ad in the first 30 days. And, common problem people have with TikTok ads is they feel like they can't get on in front of the camera. We're going to show them how they don't even have to be in front of the camera, like that kind of stuff. And you just talk through all of those things. And then one of the things that I always also recommend that you do is give it a little bit of background on yourself and your expertise, right? So like, just talk through it. And you don't have to do anything structured on this. You can just basically word vomit into your transcription and feed it the entire raw transcription of whatever you're saying. And it will understand all of that and come back with really good outcomes for your course. And it's really interesting because the way AI works is not the way human beings work. And so we like to think in terms of structure and content and whatnot. And so like we are creative in the context of our outputs, right? If we're going to write a course, we're going to be creative in terms of like, the actual like, what would you call it? The pieces that we want to make. Or if you're going to, make a painting or whatever, we look into and we look at the outcome and we're creative inside that framework. And the GPT bots, you don't have to do any of that. You can just raw dump data with no structure to it at all, and it will figure out what data it needs from there. It'll extract the right stuff. So you don't have to be specific about what you're doing. You can just answer the questions and brain dump as much data as you want, and it'll pull good data back out of it. And so I guess for the sake of this course, since it would probably take a while to actually answer all these questions and write something, what I'll do is I'll pull up a one that I was working on with my wife. And this one here, this is the professional housewife. My wife was talking about building a course on how to be a good, a professional housewife. And same kind of thing, right? The bot comes through, and I mentioned you give it some background. So like, this is my wife. My name's Karen Matthews. I'm a professional housewife, emphasis on the pro, right? And it's got just some background on her and her skills, and then some of the things that she wanted to cover in the course, right? So meal planning, grocery shopping, organizing, um, and setting clear expectations, how to support a crazy husband, that kind of stuff. And so that's just what we gave it. And what the course bot does then is it comes back and it starts talking through what it's going to do with that. So like, here's your course title. Course title is Professional Housewife. It's Playbook Mastering the Household Management with Grace and Grit. And so what I want to do is I want to show you how it does this across several different courses. So I have probably another one here that I was working on with my son. Let's see if I can find it.
A
One of the things
Minecraft course.
yeah, Minecraft course. My son is probably working on a Minecraft course. Minecraft naming options. I don't know where it is. There it is. AI course with Richard and Zachary. So this is one I'm working on with my son. My son does a lot of work with AI. And so he wants to build a course on teaching middle school and high school students how to build marketable skills using AI. And so we started talking through
He's
that. Same kind
so
of thing.
ahead of the game.
Yeah. So here we go. Same kind of thing. Background. We're a father and son team, right? And dad runs a successful business, and the son is a middle school student who's been playing with AI tools for a long time. Our goal is to build a course that's targeted towards middle school, high school, and college students, teach them marketable skills. Here's the kind of things that we're going to cover. and then it helps us write, the course title and starts getting into the escape and arrival and the actual structure of the course. So what I just want to show you is that no matter what your topic is or where you're at, you just answer the questions and give it the data that you want, and it starts writing the course for you. And so let me go back up to the professional housewife one here. Um, and there we go. Course architect bot demo, professional housewife. So this one is super fun. So this what I want to give you the like how to use it is it's going to give you all of this data back. It's going to give you a course title. It's going to give you an escape and arrival. It's going to start giving you the first sort of section of like what you're going to cover in the how section. And it'll give you, what we're going to talk about in the why, and we're going to start getting into the linguistics, right? So it gives you all the steps that you're going to go through. And my recommendation is to start copying and pasting stuff out into a document. And when I say into a document, we use Google Docs because while the bot can understand the wild chat as you go through and you're like, hey, I really like that section. Let's improve this. Let's make some more details on that. It can understand everything that's going on. You'll get lost. And I know this just from, we've done this a whole bunch of times now that, there's 128,000 characters of context in there, and you might be referring to something, 55 chats back, and you're trying to figure out how it goes. So what I do is, as we're going through, just copy and paste the sections out as you have them completed. And so you can see the course outline is coming together here for my wife's course. And we have the escape and the arrival, and then we have the what, why, how, now for the course, for the first couple of macro steps and whatnot. Same thing with this dollar a day course, not dollar a day, the AI one for that my son and I are working on. So we've got the macro steps here: introduction to AI and its impact, understanding the AI fundamentals, AI in the real world, ethical considerations, exploring tools for creativity, AI bots and content creation for editing. It's like it's gone through and it's built all of this. This is one we're doing for our business. And it goes through the same thing, right? How to escape your life of sadness where you're not running a dollar a day strategy, what we're going to cover, why it's important, how to use the dollar a day strategy. And we got the macro steps for that: understanding content ads, setting up your campaigns, and then effectively communicating with agencies. So all of these were done. And every single one of these has all the steps written out for the course. And the bot does all of the work for you. All you got to do is feed it. So I'm going to come back in here and just show you a little bit more on this particular bot with the conversation I was having with the professional housewife. Is it went through and gave us all the escapes for, like, what are what's the escape for a professional housewife, the things we want to get someone away from. And I was like, that's great. Can you make them all humorous as well? And so it gave me humorous versions of everything that we did too. And so I copied all those out. And then I asked it to give me humorous titles for everything. So it did that. And then we get in and asked it to do the arrival. That's fine. We'll just skip all that because that's all the same sort of stuff. And then when we get to the important bit is down here. Says, let's move on to the how section of our course. We have 7 major sections. So let's start with macro step 1, meal planning mastery. What is the structure of the course? Can you ask me questions that will help you fill out macro step 1 with my ideas? And so what it did is it went and looked through the framework, and it gave me a bunch of questions for the escape on macro step 1. What are common challenges and pitfalls you face meal planning? Can you share a brief story example about that struggles with meal planning before? What are we going to cover? Here's a question for that. Why is it important? How are we going to teach it? And now, so it has all these questions. And what I did was, with my wife, I just sat down with the transcription thing open. I opened it in front of her, and I just asked her those questions completely raw and let her just jabber through the answers to those questions and just paste it in the transcript. And you can see the transcript is just raw, right? There's nothing structured here. It's just her talking. And it takes her talking and turns it into really good structured course content. And that's where the magic comes in, is you don't have to know how to build a course. You don't have to know anything except what you know how to do. You can just talk through it with no structure at all, and it will put it in the structure of the course for you. And so same kind of thing. Okay, let's move on to macro step 2, grocery shopping. Ask me the questions that will help fill out macro step 2. Gave me another list of questions, and then I just interviewed my wife, and she talked through, here's the raw transcript of everything she said answering those questions. And you can see this one's even longer, right? So it's just a humongous transcript of what she said about that. And it turned it into the what, why, how, now for that section of the course. And what that ends up with is we end up with the document over here that, you can tell we're not through yet. I got to go through and we got to finish the next couple of steps. But we have the outline for this course that all we have to do once we're done with the outline is just sit up in front of a camera and start recording. And we'll have a professionally designed course from an instructional design standpoint, that just took our raw thoughts from the transcripts and put them into these things. So that's high level. That's what the bot does and how it works. At this point, do you have any questions? Or do you want to see anything in particular with it? Um,
No,
yeah.
now I know the next questions is okay. So I know the person listening is how do I make money with this? Where do I get started? But I think it's very simple. Okay, if you understand your subject that you're good at, you can talk and answer these questions into the bot, and it's going to give you your framework so you know what to say on your course. Now that's the fulfillment part of a course when someone gives you money. Now the next part of this, right? That's going to be the core. Now, the next part of this is going to be how do I get people to it? How do I make sales? How do I grow this to where I can get it to a 7-figure business? And I know that's going to be a whole nother marketing strategy and things. So what I'm thinking is, for those of you listen, maybe we bring Richard back on and we do this another day where we talk about how you can get people to these courses and start selling. But right now, can you give us just a quick overview of how can I start selling this once it's made?
Yeah, so there's a couple of things. Once you have a course, right, you have something to sell. That's the first bit is you have something to sell. And in this case, what we're looking to do is not just a course, but a specifically designed course that's built to have high completion rates and it's built to have high success rates, right? So you have a good course about your topic. So that's the foundation. You got something that is good to put in the marketplace. It's a high value offer in the marketplace. So your next couple of steps is now you have to have your sales mechanisms, right? And so those sales mechanisms could be things like a sales letter or a video sales letter or a sales webinar, right? Where you're actually going to get someone to come on and actually go through a pitch on why they should purchase your course, right? Simplest thing was to get a sales letter put together and, put your sales letter together. And there are already lots of bots that are existing to help you sell those kind of things. One of the things I'm working on is now that I figure out how to get a course creation bot to create courses, we've got the same templates for video sales letters and for written sales letters and for webinars. We'll put bots together for those things as well. So you can basically feed it in your course and be like, hey, write me a sales letter that will help me sell this course, and it'll do that work for you. Or write me a sales webinar that will let me sell this course. And so those are sort of your next things. My bots for those don't exist yet. They will, and maybe once they do exist, we can hop on and do another demo of those. But you can still, there's plenty of sales frameworks out there that will help you write sales letter or help you write a VSL or help you write a webinar to sell your course. And so like that's the next thing is you have to have, I call those a conversion mechanism. You have to have a conversion mechanism, something to sell, a conversion mechanism, and then you have to way to get an audience in front of that conversion mechanism. And that's where like what you teach on TikTok comes into play, right? So you have your audience that you can gather on TikTok and you send them to one of those conversion mechanisms. Let's just assume it's a sales webinar, right? So you have a sales webinar that you're sending people to from TikTok that sells the course, and then the course gets delivered to them. And so like those are sort of the three things that you would need to actually start selling is something to sell, hopefully something that's good and it will actually get people results. You have to have a conversion piece that convinces someone to buy, and you have to have a way to get an audience in front of them.
Okay, so for those of you listening right now, if you want Richard to come back and do a more in-depth on how to sell these, go ahead and comment down below. Bring Richard back down in the comments down below, and we'll do a whole nother one based off of just how you can actually start generating sales and leads. But just like we say every day on this account, and you hear me say it all the time, is you got to be posting videos, you got to be out there, you got to be running ads, you got to be making videos to get people to buy stuff from you to build an audience so you have people to buy your course.
Yeah.
Okay, that's really important. You can get there quickly with ads and all of the things that he's talking about here, webinars, challenges, VSLs. Those are the mechanisms, those are the sales guys that automate this system for you. So I think this has been fantastic, brother, because I know many people want a course, they don't know how to make it, they don't know what to say, they don't know why someone would buy it from them. And you basically solve all of those problems using AI, and all they have to do is talk into the AI bot and answer some questions, and it will do the rest.
As long as they have specific knowledge that they want to teach, the bot will help them get through it. So what I'm
Question.
working on right now.
Question
go
for
ahead.
you is who is this for and who is it not for?
So who's it for? If you have ever had something that you want to teach, that right, you have a message you want to get into the world, that's a good person that it's for. If you have a specific skill that you know other people would be interested in, right? I could give you some examples. My son is learning AI stuff, and there's a lot of students who wish they knew what he did because he gets to play with a lot of it. He's got a specific skill set, right, that he's been practicing playing with. He's not a world-renowned expert or anything, but he knows a lot more than other kids his age. So he's got a course in him that he wants to teach, right? My wife is the same way. She's a lot of her friends are asking her how do you do the grocery shopping and the meal planning, especially with a family of of six during this recession and still have good quality home cooked meals all the time, right? And so she's got a specific skill set, and that specific skill set other people are interested in. So if you have a specific skill set that other people are interested in, putting together a course on it is a great way to not only provide that value to other people, but provide it to them in a way that is mutually beneficial to you and to them. And so it's a baseline capitalism, right? You have value to give to the world, and you can have that mutual exchange of value back and forth. So that's who it's for. Who it's not for, if is man, I don't really know how you would answer that question. If you don't actually have something of value to teach someone, um, like they don't get into it. But like that's where the reality is you probably do. You probably do have something valuable, right? And if you just knew how to structure, knew how to teach what you knew, you can turn that into something of value. And so
Well, hang on one second. Can I answer who it's not for? It's for people that don't want to take action. It's for people that whine and complain. It's for people that have victim mentality. It's for the people that want everything done and put in no work at all and want all the money. So that's for sure who it's not for. And it's basically a mentality at this point because AI does all of the work. You just showed us that it does so much work. Would that be accurate?
yeah, that would be very accurate. You're still going to have to do some labor, right? And the labor in this case is you have to talk to the bot. You have to, you saw the transcript for my wife's one, right? It was 20 minutes of her talking, right? Just talking through her ideas. It wasn't anything structured. We were just answering the questions that the bot gave us, but still, you have to do something. You have to show up. And then once you get the course outline all put together in your Google Doc thing, it's just a course outline. You still then have to record it, right? You have to actually put it into something that would be useful for someone. And then, to that end, once you get it recorded and put up into, any of the hundreds of course, selling options that are available, you're going to have to then, do the next steps, which is promote the course, right? You're going to have to, we talk about those 4 Bs: buy, borrow, build, blitz. You have to pick one or all of the above, and buy ads on TikTok or buy ads on Facebook or borrow audiences, go on the podcast rounds, or like what I talk about, which is building your own audience at Push Button Podcast, right? You build a podcast and build that audience to put it in front of. There is effort that's going to go into you selling a course. It's not just I have a course and money just starts pouring into your bank account. That's not how it works. Um, so this is just making the steps easier.
Yeah, that's gold. That's gold because everybody thinks this is a push button, make $1 million type situation. There's always those individuals like that. So where can someone reach you? How can someone get a hold of you? Where's the best places to follow up with Richard?
Yeah, so easiest place is pushbuttonpodcasts.com. That's our company website, and you can actually, our strategy session call on there actually gets right to my calendar at the moment for the time being. We just launched our own podcast on there. Episode 1 just went live yesterday, I think. So you can subscribe to that. And then I have this course bot is going to be up for sale there. And it's going to have the bot itself, so you can access to the bot, and it'll have probably about a 20-30 minute training on how to use it. So we'll have like the Google Doc template, and then like the prompts that I'll give it to get the best responses. So you'll have all of those kind of things that'll be available up on the shop there at Push Button Podcasts before too long. And maybe I'll see if we can get you a direct link to that, Colton, if you want it. And then I also have my own website, richardmatthews.me. We've got a newsletter there called Permission to Play. That's about how you grow a business and a family while traveling full time and all the fun stuff that goes on there. So anyways, those are the two places that I would be able to find me, is my website, richardmatthews.me, or pushbuttonpodcast.com.
Sick, dude. Is there any go check out Richard. All right, go check him out. Get on board. Go check out his podcast. Get in his world of course creation and podcasting. Do you have anything that you want to cover that maybe we didn't get to go over today?
So if I was gonna say anything, I always like to tell people how this fits into their world, right? And so I talked before. I had a whole business I called the Digital Alchemy Formula, right? And alchemy was like ALCHEMY. It was all the steps that go into a business. And so what I want to point out is that this fits into the you have an offer in the marketplace that's based on your specific skill set. Right. And so once you have an offer that's based on your specific skill set, then you can do all the other things, right? You can start building your own TikTok channel. You can start building your own YouTube channel. You can start building your own podcast, right? You can start building your own audience there. You can start putting together things like maybe a mastermind. You can start putting together a lot of things. A lot of it comes back to you have an offer. And so if you're in the boat where you don't have an offer, this is what a course does for you is it gives you an offer to put into the marketplace. And all business, no matter what business it is, doesn't matter if you're a pest control company or, a tire repair shop or, an online course creation company, right? Your offer is the thing that you put into the marketplace. It's valuable that people will give you money in exchange for, right? And this is one of the fastest ways to go from I don't have an offer to I do have an offer is to build an online course, right? And what we call the knowledge economy. So that's if I was going to leave them with anything, is just to see where does it fit into a business, right? And where it fits into a business is a course is an offer, and an offer is what a business puts in the marketplace in exchange for dollars. And so everything else in your business all stems from your offer. So if you don't have an offer, this is a great thing to get a business off of the ground. If you already do have offerings, right, in your business, like we have our podcast, our podcasting service in our company, you have your TikTok ads creation course, right? You have offers in the marketplace already. This is something that you can use to supplement or have additional offers, right? So you hear all the time in business like the money's in the back end, right? Money's in the follow up. So for us, the reason we're building like this bot and the reason we're building some of the other things is so that we can add additional offerings to the marketplace in our business, right? We have our core service, which is the podcast post-production thing, and then we're going to have a couple of courses that go along with it. We're doing one on how to do advertising of content, like how do you advertise your podcast content, um, and we're going to do another one on how to develop a mini studio, right? And so we'll have these little courses that are we're using the bot to develop, and they just give us more offers to put in front of our clients, right? So we have our existing clients, and now that increases our margin, right? Because courses are low, what do you call it? They're low expense to deliver. So there's not a lot of labor costs involved in them, a lot of other things. So anyways, you can enhance your existing offerings with a course. And so that's what I would finish off with is just knowing how courses fit into a business.
Yep. If you want to make money and you don't know where to start, a course creation is a good place to monetize what you're either currently doing or give you a foundation of what you need to start making content about as well too. So you can make sales in a shorter period of time. Because making sales is saying, hey, pay me this much money for this thing. And that's how you make money. What do you
I
want
have
to say?
one more brilliant thing. Your course, once you finish it, is the foundation of all the content that you'll ever create. Right. So all the videos you put on TikTok, all the podcasts that you do, you can basically just give an AI bot your entire course. Be like, hey, here's the entire transcript of my course. Help me pull out content ideas, right? The 3-minute videos that I put out on TikTok or the podcast topics that I can talk about. Because the primary difference, I tell people all the time, and I've been telling people this for years, people do not buy information. They buy intimacy, right? And so intimacy is guidance and execution. And so your free content that you put out into the marketplace is a lot of times the exact same content that you would teach in a course, or the exact same content that you would deliver if you were doing a done with you coaching service, or the exact same content that you'd work someone through if you were doing a done for you service. So as an example, our done for you service of push button podcasts has a very specific framework that we do, and we do the same thing for every single client, but they pay us 20 grand plus a year to do it for them. That's the highest level of guidance and execution, right? Because we do all of that. We guide them through everything and we execute on all of it. And so it's a high ticket value. But on our podcast, which is free, we teach them the exact structure of what they should do. We teach them what we do for our clients. And so your content in your course it follows through that guidance and execution, right? Your free stuff there's not a lot of guidance or execution there, right? Maybe it's just the guidance, but there's no execution because you're just talking about it, and they have to go through your podcast and sift and what order am I going to listen to it in, and when am I going to? They have to figure it all out themselves, right? You put a course is going to be it's going to be a different level of guidance and execution, right? You're going to have a lot more structured guidance, but they're still going to have to execute themselves, right? If you're doing like a coaching program, you're going to give them the guidance and you're going to coach them through the execution. So that's a higher ticket price still. If you get it done for you, that's where the guidance and execution, you do all the execution for them and it costs more. So the idea there is that your course is actually the foundation for everything you might develop in your information business, right? Any of the content that you're going to put out on TikTok, any of the content you're going to put out on your podcast, and any of the stuff that might turn into your coaching programs or your services if you're ever going to build a done for you service, it's all basically done. So doing this work is actually incredibly valuable for everything that you might create for your business.
Yep. Just drop the mic on them. Thank you so much for being here, brother. If you guys want Richard to come back, go ahead and comment. Bring Richard back. Links are all below. Go check them out, and we'll see you guys on the next video. Go check it out. Peace.
Bye.